Ladies, let's dive into a transformative concept that can shift the entire dynamic of your relationships and self-perception. Have you ever found yourself glued to your phone, waiting for a text that never arrives? Have you felt that gut-wrenching sensation when a man you believed was invested suddenly withdraws, becomes distant, or acts as though you're invisible? That frustration, that sting of rejection, is something many of us know all too well. If you've ever been tempted to send that second text, stalk his social media, or directly ask, "Did I do something wrong?" Pause right there. Today I'm going to introduce you to a strategy so potent, so effortlessly magnetic, that it will make him feel the full weight of his choice to ignore you. This isn't about petty gains or manipulation. It's about tapping into human psychology and positioning yourself as the prize. By the end of this journey, you'll not only understand how to make him notice you again, but also how to make him question his entire approach. If you're ready to flip the script, let's embark on this transformative path together. The harsh reality is that chasing a man, whether by sending another text, explaining your feelings, or trying to mend things, will only drive him further away. Men don't respond to words in these moments. They respond to absence. They don't regret losing someone who pleads for their... It's about understanding that your value doesn't diminish because someone fails to see it. When you execute this strategy correctly, you won't just regain his attention. You'll shift the entire power dynamic in your favor. Stay with me as we explore this step by step, because what I'm about to share will change how you handle any man who dares to overlook you. The first step is to detach emotionally and control your reaction. The moment you sense him pulling away, you feel a sharp pang of uncertainty deep in your chest. You check your phone obsessively, wondering if you missed a notification. You replay your last interaction, dissecting every word, searching for a hint of what went wrong. Your fingers hover over the keyboard, itching to send a message like, "Hey, is everything okay?" But this is the critical moment where most women relinquish their power. They let their emotions take the wheel, reacting impulsively, seeking clarity or validation from someone who's clearly withholding it. The irony is brutal. The more you reach out, the more he retreats. The more you try to fix things, the less interested he becomes. But what if the most powerful response isn't a text, a call, or even a single word? What if the most effective way to make him feel your absence is to do absolutely nothing? Men and women are wired differently. While women often seek emotional connection through communication, men are driven by challenge, uncertainty, and space. When a man knows he has you in the palm of his hand, the chase ends. It's not malicious, it's biology. Men value what they have to earn, not what's freely given. When a woman reacts emotionally to his silence, whether with desperation, frustration, or subtle jabs, she inadvertently signals that he holds the upper hand. But a woman who masters emotional detachment becomes unforgivable. Picture this: his texts slow down, becoming curt or sporadic. Maybe he stops initiating altogether. Most women panic at this stage, assuming they've done something wrong. They overcompensate by texting more, making themselves overly available, or dropping hints online to grab his attention. But a woman who truly values herself does none of that. She leans back, letting the silence linger. She doesn't chase or fill the void with unnecessary words. She becomes a mystery, a question he suddenly wants to answer. The power of emotional detachment lies not just in what you don't do, but in how you position yourself in his mind. When a man expects you to react and you don't, he's forced to confront a reality he didn't anticipate, the possibility that he's losing you. The beauty of this approach is that you don't need to manipulate or pretend to be someone reaction to simply master the art of not reacting. Let's be honest, this isn't easy. That voice in your head will urge you to send just one message, check his social media, or post something to catch his eye. That's where the real test begins. Emotional detachment requires discipline, resisting the urge to seek external validation and turning inward instead. The moment you stop looking to him for reassurance and start trusting your own worth, every shifts. So how do you do it? First, recognize that your emotions aren't instructions. Feeling anxious or hurt doesn't mean you need to act on it. Observe the emotion, acknowledge it, but don't let it steer your actions. Second, remind yourself of a fundamental truth. A man who truly values you will never... Your job isn't to decode it. It's to decide whether you want to entertain someone who communicates through absence. Next, shift your focus. Instead of obsessing over what he's thinking or doing, channel that energy into yourself. Invest in your own life, your passions, your goals, your growth, so you don't have time to dwell on him. This isn't about pretending you don't care. It's about reaching a place where his actions no longer dictate your emotions. The moment you stop making him the center of your attention, he feels the shift. He senses the withdrawal of your energy, and that's when the power dynamic begins to change. Here's the twist. When he does come back, because he likely will, you don't react the way he expects. Most women, when a man returns after ignoring them, feel a wave of relief. They respond immediately, picking up where things left off as if nothing happened. But this sets the stage for the cycle to repeat. He learns he can ignore you without consequences, and over time, his respect for you wanes. A truly detached woman doesn't rush to respond or reward inconsistency with enthusiasm. She makes him earn her attention back. When a man realizes your emotions aren't tethered to his actions, he experiences something rare, uncertainty. And uncertainty is where attraction is born. He starts to wonder if you've moved on, if you're seeing someone else, or why you're not reacting like others might. Suddenly, the script flips. He's the one reaching out, making an effort, not because you manipulated him, but because you refuse to let his behavior dictate your self-worth. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or emotional unavailability. Emotional detachment isn't about suppressing your needs or pretending you don't care when you do. It's about maintaining your dignity and reserving your energy for those who reciprocate it. A high-value woman doesn't beg for attention, follow and kiss his city, or make a man the center of her universe. She is the universe. So, the next time a man pulls away, or react. Let the silence work its magic. Let him feel the moment you stop reacting, something powerful happens. You reclaim the energy you were giving away. Think about it. How much mental space has he occupied? How many hours have you spent replaying conversations, analyzing his behavior, or scrolling through his social media for clues? That stops now. The truth is, the more you focus on him, the less power you have over your life. But when you redirect that focus to yourself, something almost magical occurs. Most women think regaining a man's attention requires effort, crafting the perfect text, posting the right photo, or sparking jealousy. In reality, the most irresistible thing you can do is become so engrossed in elevating yourself that his absence becomes irrelevant. When you make yourself the main character of your story, everything changes. A woman who is deeply invested in herself, radiating confidence and purpose, is undeniably attractive. So what does this look like in practice? It means taking every bit of energy you'd spend worrying about him and pouring it into your passions, goals, and personal growth. Physical, mental, and emotional. When you operate from a place of lack, where your happiness hinges on his attention, he senses it, and nothing kills his attraction faster than neediness. But when you cultivate a life that's rich and fulfilling, with or without him, the dynamic shifts. Imagine this. He checks his phone, expecting a message from you. Nothing. He scrolls through social media, anticipating a subtle post about relationships or a hint that you miss him. Instead, he sees you thriving, not in a performative way, but with genuine, unbothered joy. You're at the gym. This is where mystery starts working in your favor. Men hate feeling replaceable. When a man ignores a woman, he assumes she'll wait, that she'll be there when he's ready to re-engage. But when she doesn't, when he senses he was just a chapter in her story, not the entire book, regret sets in. He realizes ignoring you wasn't just indifference, it was a mistake. By the time he comes to this realization, you won't even care because you'll be too busy becoming the best version of yourself. That's the real power move. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about genuinely being hard to get. A woman who values herself doesn't chase a man who ignores her, beg for crumbs of attention, or wait for him to notice her again. She moves forward. If you're wondering, what if I want him back? What if this is just a phase? The answer is simple. If he's meant to be in your life, he'll return. But when he does, he'll return to a woman who's elevated, not one sitting around waiting for his texts. The power dynamic will have shifted. He'll no longer see you as someone waiting, but as someone worth pursuing. So ask yourself, do you want to be the woman who pauses her life every time a man pulls away? Or the one who becomes so magnetic that men feel lucky to be in her orbit? The choice is yours, and the sooner you make it, the sooner everything transforms. There's something undeniably powerful about a woman who's unpredictable. The moment a man thinks he has you figured out, knows how you'll react, or assumes he has your attention no matter what, he stops valuing you. But when you introduce mystery, when he starts questioning what's going on in your mind, you become irresistible. Nothing captivates a man more than the unknown. Most women, when ignored, do the opposite of what works. They over-explain, overshare, or try to clarify their stance, thinking reassurance will fix things. They send long messages to pull him back, making their emotions obvious in hopes he'll change if he knows how much they care. But men don't operate that way. A man doesn't fall for a woman because she spells out her feelings. She falls for... Let's break it down. Suppose you usually text him every morning. A sweet, engaging message that's become routine. He expects it, so it loses value. But one day, you don't text. You don't post anything, leaving no clues about your thoughts. Suddenly, there's a shift. His brain, which pegs you as predictable, now has a question. What changed? At first, he might not think much of it. But as hours pass without a word from you, he starts to wonder. Is she upset? Is she with someone else? Your silence creates intrigue. He thinks about you not because you demanded his attention, but because you withdrew it. You're for social. When you take it further, when he finally reaches out, most women err by acting too eager. They respond instantly, revealing they were waiting for his message, or get emotional, confirming their world revolves around him. But you don't do that. You take your time. Maybe you see his message and wait before replying. When you do respond, it's short, effortless, slightly detached, not cold or ruled, but different. This subtle shift plants a seed of uncertainty. He's no longer sure where he stands. He thought you'd be waiting, eager to engage, but you're not. You're less available, more unpredictable, and that makes you intriguable. Men chase what they can't fully have. It's not about playing hard to get. It's about being hard to get. A truly confident woman doesn't need to manufacture mystery. She is mysterious because her life is full, her validation doesn't hinge on his attention, and she's not an open book. Mystery doesn't mean constant unavailability or ignoring him for days to test him. It's about breaking patterns, being unexpected, keeping parts of your life private, and not always giving him the reaction he anticipates. Sometimes you pull back. Sometimes you shift the energy. Sometimes you leave him wondering what's on your mind. Think of women men can't forget. They're never the ones who are overly available, predictable, or constantly proving their worth. They had something indefinable, a presence that lingered even in their absence. That's what you cultivate. Men don't fall in love with certainty or ease. They fall for the chase, the possibility of losing something valuable, the thrill of earning a woman's attention, the moment. So the next time you're tempted to over-explain, clarify, or seek reassurance, pause. Ask yourself, what would a woman who truly values herself do? Would she send a lengthy message spilling her feelings, or let her silence speak? Would she try to prove her worth or live her life knowing the right man will see it without needing convincing? Mystery isn't a game, it's an energy, a way of carrying yourself, and it says, I know my worth, and I don't need to prove it. When a man senses that, he doesn't just notice, he craves it. Patience is power in a world obsessed with instant gratification. While others chase quick fixes, a woman who knows how to wait wields unmatched control. Time is an underestimated force in attraction. The longer you hold your silence, the more potent your presence becomes in his mind. The more space you allow between you, the deeper he feels your absence. And yet most women don't leverage time. They panic. They think if they don't reach out or remind him they exist, he'll forget them. When you stop chasing and let time work its magic, something remarkable happens. A man who took you for granted begins to feel discomfort he didn't expect. At first, he might not notice, or even feel relieved by your silence. But as days turn into weeks and you don't follow the expected pattern, a shift occurs. He starts to wonder, to question, to doubt your presence. That doubt plants a seed that grows into curiosity, regret, and the fear that you've moved on. Men don't miss what's always available or chase what they think they've secured. That's why the most powerful response to being ignored is to do nothing. Let him sit in your absence. Let him wonder where you are, what you're doing, whether you still think of him. Giving him time to experience life without you makes him appreciate what he had. Most women sabotage this by they wait a few days, maybe a week, then crack, sending a casual text to check in or posting something to grab his attention. In doing so, they dissolve the power they built. He no longer has to wonder or miss her. She's confirmed she's still there, still thinking of him, still waiting. The moment a man senses you're waiting, he feels no urgency to act. A woman who understands time's power doesn't break her silence. She doesn't offer him the relief of knowing where she stands. She lets him reach out first. And when he does, she doesn't immediately reward his attention with enthusiasm or act as though all's forgiven. And she remains composed, unbothered, slightly indifferent. She's subtle shift makes him realize he's not as central to her world as he thought. The secret most women miss is that the longer you wait, the stronger your impact. As time stretches, he may initially think he's fine without you or that ignoring you is the right call. But as weeks pass and you remain absent, doubt creeps in, he wonders if he misjudged, compares you to others, and your silence becomes louder than any words. Time doesn't just make him miss you, it forces him to reassess your value, recall what he admired, and regret his act. But here's the crucial part. Time isn't just working on him, it's working on you. While he's second-guessing, you're evolving, thriving, stepping into a version of yourself unaffected by his inconsistency. The true test isn't whether he reaches out, but whether you still want him when he does. The more you detach, the clearer you see him, not through reality or nostalgia, but through reality. These realize the man who ignored you, who made you doubt your worth, who thought he could come and go, was never good enough for you. Let time do its work. Let silence be your voice. Let him feel your absence so profoundly he wishes he'd never pulled away. While he's wondering, regretting, you're living, thriving, becoming a woman who doesn't need to be chased because she's already chosen by something better. When a woman stops waiting, wondering, and overanalyzing, everything shifts. Men are wired to pursue, but the moment they feel they've won or no longer need to try, attraction wanes. When a woman chases a man who's pulling away, asking what's wrong, trying to fix things, she confirms he has her, so he stops trying. But when she shifts her energy, stops reacting, and creates space, he feels something new, uncertainty. Men don't chase women they're certain of. They chase those they fear losing. It's not about manipulation or jealousy. It's about recognizing you're the prize. You don't chase, beg, or prove your worth. You let him realize on his own that your presence must be earned. By pulling back, focusing on yourself, and showing without words that you're not waiting, flip the dynamic. Most women fear pulling away will make him forget them, but that fear keeps them stuck. If giving him space makes him vanish, he was never truly invested. A man who values you will notice the shift, feel the distance, and move closer. When you stop initiating or centering him, he senses the change. At first, he might assume you're just busy, or you'll come around. But as time passes and the always there version of you disappears, he feels the void. A thought emerges. Did I lose her? This triggers his instinct to chase, as men are competitive and hate losing something valuable. When he senses you're less emotionally invested, he starts testing, initiating, trying to understand why you've changed. The critical part is not making it easy when he returns. Many women, thrilled he's chasing, immediately reward him, responding quickly, showing excitement, slipping back into old patterns. This confirms you were just waiting, and the chase ends. To keep the dynamic in your favor, maintain your standards. Don't rush to reply, agree to meet instantly, or act like nothing happened. Show through actions that things have changed. If he wants to be in your life, he must show consistent. Your power lies not in making him chase for its own sake, but in showing your energy, time, and presence are valuable, not given to someone who doesn't appreciate them. When a man realizes he can't take you for granted, that he must work to keep you, he sees you differently. You go from the woman anxious when he pulls away to one too busy living to notice, from seeking his validation to knowing you're the prize. The best part? When you embody this energy, refusing to chase, settle, or wait, you stop attracting men who play games or make you feel uncertain. Your new standards filter out those who aren't truly invested, leaving only those worthy of you. Let him feel the shift. Wonder why you're not reacting as expected when he realizes he must chase, prove himself, and earn your attention. A high-value woman decontests, she attracts, chooses, and never questions her worth, because the right man ensures she never has to. The real lesson in being ignored isn't getting him back. It's realizing your energy, time, and presence are precious, not to be given freely to someone who doesn't value them. A woman who continues investing in a man who doesn't reciprocate signals she doesn't value herself enough to demand more. That changes now. You become the woman who doesn't tolerate inconsistency, entertain half-hearted efforts, or settle for less. She deserves. A man's treatment of you reflects what you allow, not your worth. If you let him disappear and return with a casual, "Hey," or give attention despite his lack of effort, you teach him how to treat you. Many women stay stuck in cycles of inconsistency because they reward bad behavior with access, hoping their care will spark reciprocation. But men don't value you more because you love harder. They value you when they realize losing you is a real risk, which only happens when you set new standards. When he returns after ignoring you, how you respond sets the tone. Most women revert to old patterns, welcoming him back, acting relieved, feeling victorious. But this erases your power, teaching him he can ignore you without consequence. You're different now. The old you is gone. You don't let him waltz back without proving he deserves it. You let accept the bare minimum. You make it clear. Access to you requires consistent, intentional effort. If he can't deliver, he doesn't get you. Many women fear high standards will scare men away, but only those who can't meet them will leave. And they're not the ones you want. A man meant for you will rise to your standards, not need convincing. Those who can't were never worthy. How often have you made excuses for men, lowered expectations to avoid losing them, or settled for almost enough? No more. The new you doesn't entertain men who make her doubt herself, allow inconsistency, or wait for validation. When you become this woman, the right men notice. Those unfit for you fall away, and those who are ready step forward, drawn to your self-respect and standards. The next time a man who ignored you returns, don't ask, "Do I want him?" Ask, "Does he deserve me?" If the answer's no, walk away without hesitation. A woman who values herself doesn't lower her standards. She requires men to rise to them. If they can't, you've already won by letting them go. The ultimate power move is realizing you don't need him. Not out of bitterness or revenge, but from a deep-rooted self-worth that makes his absence irrelevant. The true lesson of being ignored isn't making him regret it, though that often happens. It's stepping into a version of yourself so confident. This is when you stop looking back, stop tying your worth to his attention, stop waiting for signs he cares. By the time he realizes what he lost, you've moved forward. Moving on isn't just cutting contact or blocking him, though those can help. It's an internal shift, a conviction that you're better than the version of you that waited, no longer emotionally tied to someone who couldn't match your energy. The irony is, this genuine indifference is what makes him regret losing you most. Not gains, jealousy, or curated posts, but the fact that when he reaches out, you're no longer waiting. This is your moment of true power. A woman who no longer craves a man's attention becomes her most magnetic self. Not just to him, but to everyone. Her energy, authentic, unshakable, is intoxicating. This is where you start truly living, not to prove anything to him, but for yourself. You embrace the world from abundance, not scarcity, realizing countless people, experiences, and opportunities await beyond one man. You rediscover the woman who was never meant to be stuck waiting. The prize, the one no man could ignore once she embraces her worth. The truth is, once you move on, the universe aligns in your favor. When you stop chasing what's not meant for you, better things pursue you. You attract men who see you, value you, and show up consistently without needing persuasion. You stop wasting energy on those who drain you and find connections that fulfill you. You cease trying to fix men who don't know what they want and surround yourself with those ready for what you offer. When he finally realizes what he lost, and he will, you will care. You'll be too busy living, thriving, being the woman who doesn't need to be chased because she's already chosen by something greater, herself.